Teaching your children and being there to help them through homework and whatnot is really difficult, especially when you have a little one. I'm talking about kids under 5 years old. They don't have a ton of attention span. But what I find when it comes to the little ones, having too much structure is detrimental. It's actually more difficult to get them to learn because you're like, no, you gotta sit here, we gotta do this, and then they get frustrated and then it just ends up being a battle. Hi folks, welcome back to my Mommy's Life channel where I share with you guys my journey as a first-time mom, dentist, and business owner. If you guys are new to this channel, a big welcome. This channel is about giving you guys tips, tricks, motivation, just insight into what it's like for me having my first child as well as running a business. And now, you guys have heard me say it over and over again, it's never easy. It's just about what you find is important and how you can manage yourself, your time, your life, so that you can get as much out of it as possible. So in today's video, I want to share with you guys some ideas and things that we have tried in terms of homeschooling. Now, Kaylin's only 2. She's not quite in school yet. However, we do try to keep her stimulated so that she's not just left to destroy our house and just wreak havoc around our house. And so a lot of you guys right now during this COVID time is having to basically be a part-time teacher, and we were never really properly trained to do this. A lot of us are parents. We're great at parenting. However, teaching your children and being there to help them through homework and whatnot is really difficult, especially when you have a little one. I'm talking about kids under 5 years old. They don't have a ton of attention span. I mean, just like this right now. Oh, I had set Caitlin down for just a few minutes so that I could do this video. And she's already kind of lost interest in that and is finding herself, something else to keep herself preoccupied. So one of the things that I'd like to share with you guys that I found is very useful is I try not to be super structured. Now, I know this is like crazy that I'm saying this. It seems almost ironic I would bring it up because I always talk about having structure, having routine, and all that stuff. But what I find when it comes to the little ones, having too much structure is detrimental. It's actually more difficult to get them to learn because you're like, no, you gotta sit here, we gotta do this, and then they get frustrated and then it just ends up being a battle. So instead, I try to get Caitlin engaged whenever I'm doing a task in the house and use it as a learning opportunity. One of the things that Caitlin loves to do is to be in her kitchen, her little play kitchen, and she loves to be in my kitchen when I'm cooking. And so instead of trying to force her to learn things such as math, we're doing it in the kitchen while I'm making cookies or I'm baking cupcakes or whatever it may be. And that's a great opportunity, right? I mean, you're sitting there, you're measuring out salt, and you're teaching her what is a cup, how much is a cup, what goes into something, what happens when you mix this and this, where do eggs come from? You can talk about biology and animals. And then another great idea is you can also wrap science in the kitchen. Science and math, you can find it everywhere in the kitchen. So one of the things we will make is like Jell-O or popsicle. So, you're teaching your kids, okay, we've got something that's a liquid, right? We took some powder, we mixed in water, now we have a liquid. What do? We put it in the refrigerator and it becomes a solid a few hours later. And you're talking about phase changes, liquid to ice, back to liquid again, heat. And so there's a lot of ways in the kitchen when you start to look around and really just start talking out loud as you're doing things. What am I measuring? What am I putting in? Get them involved. And I find that we're way more successful at it. So, Caitlin is actually starting to do math. Well, yeah, there's that too. Wait. So, for example, if I'm putting eggs into my pancakes, for example, I am going to crack 1 egg. And then if I add a second egg, you ask her, how many eggs do I have in the bowl now? And she's actually started learning 1 + 1, and now I get 2 eggs? Or if I add something and then I take it away, how much do you have left? There's a lot of ways that you can incorporate things like math and science in the everyday lives that doesn't require them to sit there at a desk. And then another thing to get them active, you know, when you're at home, you know, you don't have that structured PE or the recess. We find that Twister is a great game for kids. So they're learning their hands and feet, right? They're learning body parts. And then they're also learning colors on the Twister mat. And they're getting active and being stimulated, learning balance on all those things. It's a great activity and they love it. Caitlin loves it. We've actually used that as well to teach her about colors and primary colors. What are primary colors? And then what happens if you mix, you know, yellow and blue? What do you get? So there's a lot of ways that in your everyday activities, this is the point that I want to hammer home, you know, especially with the little ones. If you guys are struggling trying to keep them entertained as well as get them some of that education that they need right now, don't try to force it on them, you know, with paper and pencils and whatnot. It's pretty difficult. So I try to make it interactive. I try to make it a fun session instead of more, you know, like a lecture style. And that seemed to have helped a lot. You know, it's still not something that she can sit and do hours and hours for, but we'll kind of do it throughout the day. And at the end of the day, we get a lot accomplished, I feel like. So just to summarize, we've been doing this, you know, for several months, and she went from knowing how to just count basically 1 to 10 to now she can count over 20. She can also do basic math like adding and subtracting. She can do colors, mixing primary colors and whatnot. And so it's been really fun doing that with her. If you guys have any other ideas that you guys have learned as you're going through and teaching your kids, please share it with me. I'd love to hear how else you guys are teaching your kids the basic skills. And until we meet again, there's 3 things just to remember while you're teaching your kids, okay? So it's keep it fun, keep it practical, and try to not be too structured. See you guys next time. Bye.